Worry is exhausting. It drains your mind, hijacks your peace, and promises control it never delivers. We worry about our finances, our future, our families, and sometimes even our faith. But what if all that worrying is actually revealing something deeper? Like where we have really placed our trust. In today's episode, we're exploring Jesus' words about treasures, trust, and what it means to live for what lasts. Here on the Pastor's Potluck Podcast, our goal is to encourage you and maybe in the process, entertain you. If you're ready, let's dig in. Biggest time waster. Go. Welcome.
Didn't give me a chance to answer.
Yeah.
So I do Reels. I don't do TikTok. I don't do Instagram right now. So Facebook Reels are the thing. Because they're pretty close to the top of my feed usually. So, because I'll go on Facebook and I'll do one little swipe. But if there's a reel in there that looks interesting, I hit that thing and then
you're in it.
I just watch all of them in the row. Even if it's not even something I'm like, I wonder what's happening here. And I look and I'm like, oh. And so that is definitely mine, because I don't normally wouldn't have cared about those types of things. Before. I don't know. They just capture my attention, especially if it's like a painting one. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with those ones. So
I watch this is my guilty pleasure. I watch this guy. He owns his own business out of Minnesota, and the name of his business is Victory Outdoor Services, and he's a concrete guy. Oh. And all he does is pour concrete.
Yeah, like those, and then the fancy epoxy ones and they have the things they put in it.
Oh yeah, like the sparkles, like what they do for garages and stuff. Yes.
I don't know. I could watch those.
Yep.
Forever.
I find it so interesting, and I'm like, man, I want to go pour some concrete and make it smooth the way that they do it.
It has to be satisfying to do that and then see the finished product.
100%.
Of how, I don't know.
Especially if they're doing stamped concrete to make it look like wood or stone or something like that. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. But next thing I know, I'm I gotta wake up for work in a little bit. Yeah. It's a big time waster. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just gets you sucked in, and then you have dreams of painting and pouring concrete.
It's wild, and it's something I never want to do. But I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, those types of things, to see somebody do, they obviously have a vision in their head and then they do it, and it's that's really cool, because I'm not the type of creative person to do that type of thing. But I enjoy watching it happen.
Yeah, it's crazy, like watching someone, you could see their thought process, as it's getting planned out, and just the beginning stages of it, and then in the middle, and you're like, oh, okay, I kind of get that. My mind doesn't work like that whenever it comes to pouring concrete.
Right.
But those guys that do it all the time. It's just. But it is a big time waster for sure. My wife says that I waste a lot of time at the grocery store too, because I like to take my time.
Oh yeah. Are you the type that likes to just walk every aisle just in case you need something?
Because I'm looking at things in a different manner than, I understand we need ketchup, but let me look at all the condiments just to make sure that I'm not missing something. I stick to the budget, obviously.
Right.
But I walk down every aisle, because there's typically especially at Kroger nowadays, they always have something that they're trying to get rid of. It's a this ain't coming back. which is great because it's a fantastic price, but it's frustrating at the same time because you're like, man, if I really like this, like, this is going to be the last time I can ever get this, you know? I found that with like a cereal one time. They were getting rid of a cereal, and it was called like Heart Healthy Clusters or something like that. Like, I don't even know who made it, but it was like this like honey cinnamon kind of like a tasted
cluster almost.
But they were like in the shapes of like little circles, like Fruit Loops shaped. But it was almost kind of like the bunches and honey bunches of oats. But it had like a little bit more cinnamon, but it had like almonds and everything. It was fantastic cereal. Crunchy from start to finish. Never got soggy. And I bought like 5 boxes of it because they were like $1.20 a piece. Like, I was like, okay, we're trying to get rid of it. I was like, I'm eating it. It's cheap.
Yes.
I don't care if I don't like it or whatever. So I ended up buying it, and I loved it.
And then you could never find it again.
No, it was like a nationally national discontinuation.
Try to hold off on the last box for as long as
no,
you could.
because
You
I was just like, I'm gonna go find more of this at Walmart.
See, I'm
but
the
Walmart
type
didn't
that,
have any. And then Googling
if I'm
it.
watching a show and I know there's going to be a next season, if I get towards the end of the season, I don't really want to watch the last show because I'm sad that it'll be over until.
I don't even do that. I wait till that Joker is done, till it's like years since it's been like episodes. Like, they're like, okay, this is the series finale, not season finale, series. Then I binge watch. If it's got 40 seasons, then I'm gonna watch all 40 of them.
No, I think it was the last like Reacher season, maybe. Was it? Yeah, that was the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I think we watched the last episode and I didn't realize, and I was like, wait, is that the end? Do we have to wait? Like, I was so mad. I was like,
yeah.
Are you serious? There's no more? So yeah. Anyway.
I did that with Breaking Bad. I watched all 5 seasons. And I thought that there was 6. And I went to go look for the 6th season. And I was like, there's no way it ends this way. God, this was amazing. But I want more. Like, I just wanted more. I was like, I want to watch them do whatever.
That's
funny. Yeah. So, yeah. Big time wasters. For sure. That's where we were getting at.
We just wasted a lot of time.
We just wasted time.
Sorry, listeners.
Goodness. Yeah, we're continuing our discussion on Pastor's Upside Down series from 5 years ago, and we're just revisiting it. And he starts off with this idea that there is something that is the absolute biggest time waster, and that's worry.
Yeah. It is definitely a time waster.
Yeah.
Because you can't do anything about it most of the time, right? Like, that's why it's a time waster, is because those worries that you have most of the time, a lot of times, they're not even coming true.
Yeah.
And you just worried for no reason.
Yeah.
I have a few people in my life that I know are like major worriers, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that I am much of a worrier. Like,
I think that there's
about certain things, probably.
Yeah. I think that we worry about things and look at things in a different manner. Yeah. Because we're like, man, a lot of time and effort and planning and preparation has gone into like this event. My worry is that it's impactful and meaningful in someone's life. Like, we spend a lot of time planning. Is that
a worry or is that a hope, though? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I guess you're right.
I think that's where I look at it, because I'm like, that's the hope that you have for it, is that it's impactful. Like, so you put all this work into it to try to make it the best that it can be, so that it is impactful.
Ooh, that's a good way of thinking of things.
But like,
instead of worrying about if something stupid's going to come out of my mouth on a Sunday morning while I've got a microphone in front of it, I should just hope that nothing happens, right? Maybe I wouldn't have the gray hairs that I would have if I was just hoping more instead of worrying.
I mean, I think I think the thing is like, yeah, you might worry that it's going to flop or fail, but also that's not dependent on like, if you've put in your best effort and all the work, then it's up to God at that point. Yeah. Right. And I think that's where Pastor Scott was getting to in this sermon with a lot of the things. Like, you work at it, you do these things, but like at the end of the day, there are certain things that are just out of your control. And those things that are out of your control, worrying about them is a time waster because you can't control them. Those are outside factors. And so I think that if you can reframe that, some of those things to where like, no, I hope that this happens, or I've done this work. And so now I've done what I could do. Now it is up to God.
Now, is worry the same as anxiety?
No, it is very different. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused, because I think that for a long time, anxiety was, mental health things like this were not hugely discussed. And for a long time, even in the church, I would say that a lot of people kind of looked at someone who maybe had depression or anxiety or some kind of other thing, and they would make it seem as though it was a lack of faith of why you were dealing with that, not realizing that it's an actual physical or physiological, psychological thing, completely separate from spirituality. And so we have to make that distinction, because that is something totally different. But a lot of people will hear somebody who has anxiety just like express how they feel about something, and they'll be like, oh, I do that. I worry about this type of stuff all the time. And it's like, no, it's different. It's totally different. And I think it was a New York Times article that Pastor Scott shared about how like worry is what happens when your mind dwells on negative thoughts, uncertain outcomes, or things that could go wrong. That's how they describe worry. But a Psychology Today article says that worry is caused by real situations, but it's more controllable.
Yeah.
I think anxiety, a lot of times, it's not always logical. Mm-hmm. My husband deals with anxiety, and like there are times where he was stressing about this whole concept of if we went spelunking and took the kids and what could happen and all these things. And I'm like, yo,
when are we going spelunking?
When are we doing that? Like, we're not doing that. Like, we probably never will do that. So why, like, but that was like, that's the kind of like unrealistic side of it, that sometimes these things just come in and you can't necessarily control them. It's not always logical, because there's a psychological, like physical thing within the brain that is causing things to happen.
And anxiety wraps onto those illogical thoughts and really just does not let go. And it's a crazy, crazy thing to, once you begin to understand like what it does, to individuals, because I mean, there's no rational talk for irrational thoughts.
Yeah. And that's why like things like we're a promoter of counseling, of medication, like whatever you need for those types of things that you're dealing with, like that's what's available. Yes, scripture is there. Yes, God can help. Like, yes. However, we understand that God also has created his people to be able to come up with, create techniques and medicines and things like this to help his people in this broken world that we live in. Yeah. So there's no shame in that kind of thing. There's nothing wrong with that. And that doesn't mean that you don't have faith or that you lack faith. So when we get into the discussion about how, worry, often is tied to faith or your lack of or ability to have faith or trust in God, we're not talking to those who are dealing with anxiety. We're not saying that you don't have faith. So we want to make sure that that is very clear in this conversation from the front of it, because it is two very distinct, different things that we're talking about.
Yeah. So if we're getting back onto the topic of worry, I kind of want to dive into the scripture and what it says, and then we can begin to break down those things of Jesus's teaching from his Sermon on the Mount. It's found in Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 and 26. Do you want to read it?
Sure. It says, let me go to my actual Bible app here.
Here you go.
Just to make sure I got it. Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? That's the NIV translation there.
Yeah. How does that apply to us in this day and age, especially in kind of like this Western civilization that we live in, that is so caught up in this idea of like abundance and okay, you're telling me not to worry about what I eat or drink. Like, I've got a pantry and I need to fill it. Like, that type of mentality. Yeah. And the clothing, I mean, because you've spent some time in third world countries. I've spent some time in third world countries.
Yes.
This is a completely different way of thinking in terms from where we are in America. And so how do we begin to, what are you talking about? I don't worry about what I will eat or drink or about my body or what I will wear. Like, I don't think about those things as it is now. Like, I think about, okay, I got to go to the grocery store. Like, I got to get some milk or whatever. Like, and I've got a closet that's full of stuff that I don't wear. Yeah. Like, so I don't have to worry about what I'm wearing. Like, like I've got plenty to wear. Yeah. It's not about like your outfit for the day.
Yeah. I think
and what I'm posting on Instagram.
Yes.
I'm, like I've got plenty of clothes.
Yeah. I think most of us in the States, for the majority, I mean, we are rich in that area. We have abundance. We have excess. Even if you can't buy the fanciest stuff, you can go to places like Goodwill or Heart and Hand or, different places around that sell things at a discount. That often you can find stuff with tags on it still. I mean, we have stores like that because of the excess that we have here. Yeah. Right. You can go, I mean, there is a storage unit place at the bottom of our hill here from the church. You drive up the road. There's so many more as you pass, just trying to go to the interstate. Like, because we live in this culture of excess and overabundance. And I think that some of that, like, I understand some of those buildings are useful when you have, like, say somebody's in the military and they get, a single person on active duty and they don't want to pay rent for 6 months. So you put your stuff in a building or whatever while you're gone. But I think that some of that comes from this level of, worry that we have of if we don't keep it, if we don't hold on to it, then we might not have it. Like maybe especially people who maybe grew up a little bit like me that have a scarcity mindset. Like, I had to fight against this a bit because I grew up, we didn't have much. Like, we were on welfare all the time, all the kinds. We got the food stamps. We lived in HUD housing. We got the vouchers. We like all the things because we didn't have that. My mom was a single mom, 3 kids, couldn't work, like just all the things. And so growing up in that environment can make you feel as though, well, if I don't keep this, if I don't hold on to this, then I won't have it. Yeah. So I think there's some of that maybe you need to work through that some if that's you. But then I think also, like, there's just so much emphasis on image as a sign of success almost. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, if we have nice clothes, nice car, nice house, then that shows that we have made it. We've got enough. We've whatever. And sometimes we can worry about that, not realizing that, like, that enoughness comes from an internal place. Yeah. Comes from God. And you can have nice things. You guys talked about this in the previous episode a bit about, treasures in heaven and that kind of thing. And how it's not bad to have nice things. Correct. But I think when you get to that place where you are worrying so much about well, if I don't have these shoes, then I'm going to not look the part, or I'm, whatever. I probably, because of some of the way I've grown up, I've never put like a huge emphasis on name brand stuff. Like I've never really cared about that. I just cared that I had stuff. And so, so there's good and bad from depending on how you grow up. And I found it interesting because like my most recent trip to Ecuador, one of our guides was talking to me and he said, here, we don't care about name brand stuff. He was like, and we don't even care if it's the best quality because we're going to wear it until it,
falls
we want
apart.
cheap because we can have more if it's cheap. But then as soon as it's, not good enough anymore or torn apart, like we can afford to get another thing. They're like, we don't care about like knockoffs are fine with us. Like, they don't really care about that. They just need the clothes. And so, I think that there's a level of, if you're spending so much time thinking about it, then it's maybe not the most healthy place. There might be something underlying, like something deeper of why you feel like you have to have those things. But I think like, regardless, like it's not bad to have those things. If you're working for it, you're working hard for it. Like you guys talked about last week, have it. Like if you're generous, if you're doing all the other things, no big deal. But I think also like within that, we have to think, okay, is me worrying about the clothes, the type of food I have, the places I go to eat, like the people I surround myself with, is that causing extra stress in my life that shouldn't be there, that God doesn't want me to have?
Yeah, just because we don't necessarily have to think about our clothing and fooding in a way that first century Christians did, because it was a completely different time and place and culture.
Yes.
It doesn't give us a green light to act foolishly just because we don't.
Right.
Like we've got to be wise about those things, and don't do things that are irrational.
Like exercise wisdom. Like there's no big deal of whether you buy the name brand cheese or the off brand. Like I don't know. Some people are my husband's picky about cheese, but I'm like, I think it tastes just the same. Of course, I grew up on what they called welfare cheese, so like it's fine.
Block cheese, baby. I know, dude.
I know. I'm like, whatever. It's cheese. And so. But I think like
because it
there's
beats no cheese.
Yes, exactly. So I think there's wisdom though, obviously, in how you're spending on those things and what you have. I've been in the mode this past year, especially of I purge probably once a quarter between me, the kids, like sneak in the closet for my husband, like, all those things, because it gets to be too much. Like if it's causing me worry, maybe not because we don't have clothes, but because I can't get to the laundry. Like, I think that's the level of excess that causes worry and stress in our lives now, is that when you have so many clothes, the laundry can build up because you have plenty of extra to go to. And so then you're having to try to make time to get all that laundry clean, or it's causing you worry and stress of that, or I've got to use this food before it expires because we have too much, or or maybe I haven't been wise when I've gone grocery shopping and I haven't bought the discount stuff. I've just bought the name brand, most expensive, like whatever, because for whatever reason I think that it's better. I think that, you have to think about those things, the being wise with it and what really matters in the long run. But obviously, like, do the work that you can. So if you can buy the discount stuff, like do it, because that makes sense. That's the work that you can put in to where then you're not worrying so much. But I think the part about like, that we are more valuable than these other things that have what they need. I think we have to remember that at the end of the day, God cares for us and he will provide. He'll give you what you need. And maybe some of what you want. Yeah. But you also have to exercise wisdom and right judgment within that, right?
Yeah. I like this. I like this next verse 26. It says, "Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they?"
Yeah.
I like this idea because this is not mentioned in Scott's notes. He touches on it a little bit, but yes, God does take care of those animals, and He provides for them. But it's not, I'm going to drop a whole bunch of, like if you're a bird, I'm going to drop a whole bunch of worms and crickets just so you don't ever have to leave the nest. Like they have to get out and do the work, and then God shows Himself through their hard work and their dedication, and that's whenever His provision comes in.
Yes, absolutely. Because it's not an excuse to be lazy for us, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't sit at home and never work and expect to have what you need.
Correct.
Like you cannot sit at home. Like it's the same thing with, let's get away from clothes and food, but let's get into relationships and friendships. Like if you are just sitting on the couch at home every day, you're not going to be able to foster community with other people. It's anything like that. It takes work within our marriage. It takes work, right? To have that right, good relationship. You can't just be separate. And so you have to put in work. So you do those things. And if you are doing the things that you know you're supposed to be doing and things still seem tight, that's when your faith can actually be strengthened, because then, okay, hey God, I'm doing the things, but, I've worked within the budget. I've done this, but things are a bit tight because this came up. Like, God, I need you to come through. Yeah. And, I said we lived off welfare, but even within that, like as a young girl, I saw people provided for us in ways that were like, I don't know. I look back and I'm like, who would have thought? I had a neighbor 2 doors down who was a doctor and had 3 girls who were able to pass me clothes all the time. Yeah. And I swear, I think that they just bought extra clothes because they'd give me bags that still had tags on it and all that stuff. And maybe when you have that kind of income, it's fine. But I would be like, oh, is this really a hand-me-down, or did you guys just shop for me? I've seen God do those kind of crazy things in my life where it's like, when we thought maybe we didn't have enough, or I remember one time that the gas was turned off. We didn't have heat in our house. And like my 2nd grade teacher showed up with electric blankets and heating, like little electric heaters, and a whole Thanksgiving meal for us. And none of us had told her that. Yeah. But that's how God can move and provide and work when you're doing all you can do.
Yeah, God's provision is outstanding. He takes care of the animals and He provides for them, and then He just follows it up. He's like, "Aren't you greater than all of these? Yes. Like you're greater than the birds and the fish."
You have to go back to the initial creation, right? Like we were initially given dominion over all those things. Yeah. Like He cares more for us. Like He put us over those things because we are more valuable than
I know. Scott uses this analogy. He goes, for example, a horse breaks its leg. They normally kill it. Yeah. Little Timmy breaks his leg. We don't put little Timmy down because he broke his leg.
Right. Yeah.
There's value. There's value on human life. And in the image of God that we were created, we are far more valuable than anything than we could ever imagine. Being created in the Creator's image is something that is, I think of like all of the great pieces of artwork in time. Some of the most sought after pieces are actually images of the artist, because they did a self-portrait of themselves, whether that be painting or sculpture, chiseling, sculpture, and whatever the case may be, is because we get to see how they see themselves, right? Sometimes it's a little construed. Sometimes it's a little, like an artist that comes to mind is, her name was Frida Kahlo, and she was a Mexican-born painter, and she got into a car accident. And so her self-portraits before then were just true reflections of how she saw herself, right? And in this car accident, she got injured, maybe had like some facial scarring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But now afterwards, she started painting herself with like unibrows and ugly and grotesque, is because that's the way that she saw them herself. But God's creation for us, like, we are all created beautiful. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are all beautiful and fantastic creations of God and reflections of who He is.
Yeah.
And He's like, we are going to be taken care of.
Yeah. But I think that, like, I think that obviously where some of this comes in is that we do live in a broken world. And so, like, our image is marred at our birth, because we are not born as He initially intended. And then when you live in a broken world and you have people who maybe haven't treated you as though you have that intrinsic value that you have, or you haven't been told that you have that, you've grown up being told that maybe you're not good enough, or that you're, not going to have stuff, or you're not going to amount to anything, then you have these like deep-seated things within you that makes you feel as though you're not. Yeah. And we have to remember, like, those people, those things are not what defines us. It's God and how He created you. Yeah. And He created you in His image. And so when you can get back to that and you can hold that truth, and kind of dispel those other things, then that can help dispel some of the worry. Because, like, as I said, like, me growing up, I had a very different image of myself for a long time. And that's where a lot of my issues came from, and a lot of my worries came from, because of that. But when we can know and understand our value in God's eyes, then I think that does help us worry less.
Yeah, that's so good.
And I know it's hard to think about, because it's like, a lot of people are like, well, what about those people living in Ecuador that don't have meals or don't have this? Well, God uses people like us, like we as a church are helping provide meals for 72 kids year round. Yeah. And so, like, there are ways that God provides, and it might be through you, it might be through somebody else. But, like, I see those kids and I see the joy that they have when they have one little toy in their house, and I think that we have to remember that joy is not always found in excess. It's found in who gives us what we have. Yeah. And understanding, like, that value that He places on us, and He cares for us so much that He's going to give us love. He's going to give us joy. He's going to give us hope. He's going to give us provision in ways that maybe we don't expect. And you work for it as much as you can. Yeah. And trust Him in the process.
Yeah. So good. Another one of the highlights that he has here is where he shows areas of your life that we do not trust God. Mm-hmm. That is such a powerful statement. Yeah. Because whenever I hear stuff like that, it makes me want to take a step back and just like start doing like a lot of evaluating all of these areas of my life. And I'm going, man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because he says in verse 30, he says, if that's how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and gone tomorrow, or thrown into the fire, how much more will He clothe you? You have little faith, right? And so it's this idea, this is where, that distinction earlier was really important, because we don't want you thinking, oh, well, I'm anxious, so I don't have faith, because that's not true. But yeah, when we don't trust God, when we don't have faith, I think I heard somebody recently said, worry and doubt is faith escaping. And I thought, oh, man, that's a really good little statement, a nugget that I want to hold on to. Because I think in those places where maybe we don't trust, we aren't living out our faith. Like we're trusting God with eternity. Like if you're a believer, you trust him with life after death.
Yeah.
But you're not going to trust him with your finances. You're not going to trust him right now with
your
the
relationship.
Like yes. And so it's like almost bizarre when you think of it in that way. It's like, why would I not trust him in this? But every moment.
That's such a great way to put that. God almighty.
But like, so when you find those areas, because this is what I want to say, like when you find those areas, act wisely, right? Do the work that you need to do.
Yeah.
But then let him handle the rest.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there are things, like we said earlier, that are out of your control. You cannot control. So you just holding on to it, those things creates more stress. And that stress shows up, like that worry and stress shows up physically in our bodies a lot of times, right?
Yeah.
Like there are people when they're super worried about things, they stop eating, or they, eat junk,
too much.
or, or they turn to other things that aren't healthy. And I think that when you can find those areas and it's like, okay, God, I haven't been trusting you with, being able to save money for this thing down the road. But like, God, what's ahead way more than I could.
Yeah.
Like we know that we're going to have to buy another car probably fairly soon. Like if we want a second car, most of the time we're fine with one car. But we're like, well, we need to start saving. We need to start doing these things. So the wise thing to do, knowing that that's ahead, is to budget properly, stop spending frivolously, save that money. We work at it as much as we can, but then we trust God to help us find the right car when the time comes.
Yeah.
And if we aren't trusting him, then is that an area where we need to work on our faith? Like, because I think that, the more that you do it, the more that you are able to let God handle these things, the more your faith does increase to help you with those things down the road. And so, this is where I say, like, I don't know that I'm much of a worrier because I've just seen God come through in a lot of really amazing ways in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we all have those stories. We maybe just don't write them down or remember them as well.
Yeah.
But like, I know the last time we had car issues, an envelope with hundreds of dollars, over $1,000, ended up on my desk out of nowhere. I still don't know who put that money on my desk.
Yeah.
No idea, but it paid for both vehicles to be fixed in the way that they needed. And give us the money for something else that we had to take care of at the time. Like it was more than what we ever expected or needed. Like, and we had just been praying. We just continue to be faithful in our giving, continue to do the things that we could do best during that time. And God showed up through somebody. Like, but when you look at that and you realize that is definitely a God thing, or you can maybe keep track of these things, that helps build that faith and that trust for God to do it again. That's why the Israelites early on would set up altars and places of remembrance, to where when they came along those things, they could remember how God showed up in their lives. And I think that the thing is that often we fail to remember those things. We fail to maybe make a note of that, to say, hey, God, you showed up through, it's probably little things too that we just don't even recognize as God. Yeah. Like the bread that we buy being on sale. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't think that we always recognize those things and say, thank you, God. Like, thank you, God, for the meat being on sale that I needed for my family, so that we can have good meat rather than like whatever else. I think that like
canned chicken.
Yeah. I think that, so I think that when you can identify those areas, like maybe look back, do like an audit. You guys talked about audits last week. Look back and say, okay, where has God maybe been faithful in this area of my life before? Because that's going to help build that faith and trust that he can do it again. Yeah. And then just pray about it in those moments too. Like,
Yeah, I think we oftentimes, we do a good job of talking about these things because we know that the scripture says that all good and perfect things come from the Father up above. We know that God also comes to give life and give it more abundantly. And, all good and perfect things, all of that, all the scripture that talks about these things. And it's so crazy the way that this has been put that, the areas of our lives that we are worrying in are the areas that we just don't trust God. And that means that we just don't trust we also don't trust the word of God.
yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy to think about. Like
when we're trying to bring people into this kingdom,
yeah,
but yet
I'm trying to think of
but we don't even trust what he says about this kingdom.
Yeah.
Is that false advertisement? On our part?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Not really, because obviously it's true. But I think your level of trust and faith in God can help show other people who maybe are lacking that trust and faith. I think that's why our testimonies are so important too.
Yeah.
Is because you might have an area where God has showed up in an amazing way that I might be worrying and stressed about because it's the first time I've faced something like this.
Yeah.
But if I know that God showed up for you, then that can help build my trust and faith.
Yeah.
Through knowing that he did it in you. Because we can read this book that is, ancient texts and true and real and inspired and all these things, but then we're okay, he did that for the Israelites, but when's he done it in my century?
Yeah.
And we can, I just honestly, it's hard sometimes to wrap your mind around those types of things if you haven't seen it or heard about it happening with someone that you actually know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think sharing about those things is so important because I
mean that's part of our next steps for us. How do we take this information and apply it to our lives? And I think that that's so super beneficial. It's how do we begin to alleviate the worry in our lives and get rid of it? Because obviously we know the destruction that happens because it's saying that we don't trust God with that area of our life. So how do we get to the point to where we do trust God with that area of our life?
Yeah.
I listen to the stories of God being faithful in your circumstances. I'm going to tell people of how God's been faithful in my circumstances. And then I hope that other people get on board of saying and talking about God's faithfulness in their circumstances to where we can all be an encouragement and lift one another up.
Yeah. And I think that that's part of, verse 33 talks about seeking first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you as well. And he says, it says in 34, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. I think as you hear these things, as you get yourself in community with other believers to hear those things, that is seeking God's kingdom. God's kingdom is a community of believers, right? It is the group of believers. And so when you are in community with other people to where you can hear those stories, where you can hear those things and latch onto them, then you're going to be given the faith and the ability to be able to trust in God in those areas. You're going to know if you're seeking God with all that you are, you're working and doing what you can, then God's gonna give you what you need. Yeah. It may not be what you want, so you might have to fight against culture a little bit. Yeah. But why worry about things that are out of your control, that is not even around yet, that's not even here yet? Because there's enough going on today in the present and the here and now. Yeah. I think it robs you of the joy and what you can experience in the here and now if you're so focused on tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? If you're so focused on things of the future, like, I'm not saying you don't make goals and try to work towards them.
Yeah, I want to retire. I got to work towards it. I can't just think
that's not what this
I'm going to get a whole bunch
yes.
of money whenever I turn 65.
But it's like, I can't tell you how many times I've probably missed out on really wonderful moments with my kids in the present because I'm so focused on planning for or worried about something for the next day, like, or later on in the week, or, you know, I think that's what that last verse is getting towards, maybe more for me personally, is like, let tomorrow happen, but be present here and now.
Yeah.
And trust God in the here and now, because he's already got your future covered, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so don't worry about that, because if you've put your faith and trust in God,
Yeah.
right, you're trusting him with life now, but also life after. Like, so he's got you covered.
Yeah, it seems like everything in this world is going against you, because we always wonder if something medically happens, is our insurance going to cover it? Mm-hmm. And so we're like constantly worried about that. If something happens with my house, is insurance going to fully cover this, or I'm going to be like up the creek without a paddle? Mm-hmm. And God is fighting against all of these ideas and thoughts that this world is put in.
Yeah.
And God just says, no, I've got your future. Worry about today.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine if an insurance company came out with that slogan, how much money they would make?
Yeah. Maybe you need to create one.
No, I'm called to sing. But I get 10% royalty.
Yeah. I mean, true, because I think, that is why we have insurance, is the hope that it will cover those things, right?
But
let's
how
go back
many
to the hope instead of the worry.
But how many times is it
Yes.
they're like, okay, well, it may be covered, but we're dropping you. And then you're like, well, that's not what I'm paying you for. Like I want y'all to be around because I like this company.
Yeah.
Or whatever, vice versa. Or how many horror stories have you heard?
Is that not trusting? Because okay, they dropped us. Well, we got to trust God to bring the other company around, because maybe this other company is going to be better for our future than this one would have been anyway.
That's not the point I'm making, Cheryl.
But that's one of those things that
yes.
like you have to, there is that idea and concept that we hear about, when one door closes, another one opens, like kind of mindset that, like, do we have that kind of trust and faith in God that if he has shut this, then it's because this is opening over here, and maybe we don't see it, but he does. And so that's part of where that trust, and it's a freedom that you can have in those moments if you trust him in that way instead of worrying, to know, okay, like, it's like the new Forrest Frank song, God's got my back. Like, I don't have to worry about tomorrow because God has it, right? Like, God has everything taken care of. He knows what we don't. And so we have to have that trust, and there is a freedom that comes with that, to be able to enjoy those things now.
Dude, you know what's crazy is God is working some crazy stuff behind the scenes, right? I'm noticing that as we're going through this, which this podcast is we don't plan these things out, right? We don't plan. We plan what we talk about, but just specifically for the podcast.
Yeah.
This doesn't correlate with anything that happens on Sunday morning. This is just an extension. Like Sunday morning's going to happen. Like if this goes away, Sunday morning's still going to happen. Like we're not reliant on the two. But God works out some crazy things, because Scott's talking about trusting God on Sunday.
Yeah.
He wants me to sing a song for a response, and I was just like, wow, that just popped in my head just now. I was like, this is all working out. And he did the same thing last or 2 weeks ago. Dude, it's nutso what's going on.
Yeah. God's cool like that.
I know.
Because he is working simultaneously in his people in various ways that, like, I don't know. So when you see little things like that, it should give you like freedom and trust to be like, okay, if God cares enough about making sure these things line up, how much more does he
Yeah,
care
if
about
they're-
making sure things in my life line up?
Yeah.
Like my budget and this issue
Yeah.
that I might need to pay for. Like, I don't know.
Do you trust God with this mystery meat question?
No comment.
If Scott was here, he'd be like, oh, nope.
No comment.
What is the funniest or most random way you've injured yourself?
Considering I'm wearing a boot and have a stress fracture on my ankle that I have no clue how it happened.
Yeah.
And when people are like, "Oh, what happened?" I'm like, I got a crack in my ankle, but I can't tell you how it happened. I don't know if that's funny or not.
Yeah.
Let's see. Funniest or most what read it again. I'm sorry.
What is the funniest or most random way you've injured yourself?
When I was a little girl, I was dancing on the couch to La Bamba
Yeah.
and fell off and landed on my brother's toy Tonka truck and broke my collarbone. And so the bone doctor whatever, I called him the bone doctor because I was too little to call him anything else. He called me La Bamba for the rest of the time that I saw him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people listening might not even know what that song is or remember that movie, but
Yeah, they don't. I could tell you what they don't know is the actual lyrics of that song, because people just think it just goes ba 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 la la bamba.
la 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 bamba.
No. It's actual Spanish. Para bailar la bamba.
See, I was 6, I think, at the time, so
Yeah.
maybe younger. I think I was 6. But yeah, it was the heavy metal toy Tonka trucks. You know, when they used to make,
back
when they used to make like legit toys and not these little. Now, like I think we had one in the kids wing that's like it's like soft and squishy.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if I had that when I was a kid, I wouldn't have had a broken collarbone. Anyway,
I have a scar on the top of my hand. You can kind of see it there.
yeah,
It's like maybe 3/4
Yeah.
of an inch. And I was in maybe 2nd grade.
yeah.
At the school that we were at, it had like a garage, like just a random garage, but the doors on it had the
You
glass.
just reminded me. Sorry, keep going.
What's that?
Keep going.
Had
You
like the
reminded me
glass.
of
It had like the glass windows, just to allow light
Yeah.
whenever the door was closed or whatever. But for some reason, it had like a perfect cutout of a hand, or not like a hand, but like a circle, like in the window itself. And this was right around the time that Terminator 2 had just came out. And there's a part in the movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger punches at the T-1000 or whatever it is. I don't know. I forget what T it is or the number that, but he's like the liquid Terminator,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he punches it and his hand goes through it. And then he tries to pull his hand out. And so that's what I did. I successfully, as a 2nd grader, put my hand in a punch through the glass hole. But as I pulled it out, it nicked the top of my hand, and I had to go get stitches. And so you can even see like the little stitch mark, like if
Yeah.
you get it like reflecting
Yeah.
off the light and stuff like that, you can see where the stitches were.
That's funny.
And so, yeah, it was crazy. You could see all the way down to like the
Yeah.
tendon. Like it went deep.
So within garage door stuff, when I worked at Logan's and we had the garage room that had garage doors all around.
This is a great story.
I had a chair. A chair fell on my head from the garage track.
Yeah.
People thought it would be funny when they were asked to put up chairs. They put them up in the things. And so when I went to open the door, what's worse, and I don't know if I've shared this, what's worse is that the first door that I unlocked to open, they stopped me and pointed up at the chairs. So then I was just going through and unlocking the rest and waiting for them to pull the chairs down. I got to the last one.
Why were you waiting for them to pull the chairs down, Cheryl?
You know why. But I got to the last one and I just pushed that thing up and it hit that chair and that chair fell on my head and I had to get stitches. And I remember being more upset about the fact that I was worried they were going to have to shave that part of my head because it's right here.
Yeah.
And I still have this scar in there and then it gets like really dry sometimes. And anyway, but it's like right here towards the front.
Such your phone.
Yeah, Carter's calling me on Messenger. Anyway, but so I had just gotten my hair cut short and like side bangs and whatever. And I thought,
oh no,
if they have to shave right there, it's going to look so bad.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I could put a hat on to cover it. But where my hair was so short, I was like, I'm just going to look, I don't know. Anyway, but they did not have to shave it. But yeah, that's probably the most random way that I was injured.
Yeah.
Was a chair falling on my head.
Yeah, that is probably the most random.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
Awesome. I thank you for your insight. You opened my eyes to some things, so I appreciate that. And I hope that your eyes were open to the listeners out there. Just remember, trust in God. Don't worry about tomorrow. Be present in the day. Worry about today. Today's got enough.
Yep.
All righty. Y'all get out of here. Thank you so much for listening in with us today. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. You can also watch the video version of this on YouTube as well. All you have to do is search up the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. From all of us here, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.